Hello, everyone. Just wanted to check in for week three. Where have we been in this class? Where are we going? We're entering into week three. We have had a moral theory boot camp looking at these ethical decision making frameworks offered by Kant, utilitarianism, and Thomas Aquinas' natural law approach. And we've dived right into particular issues, which also employ moral theory to some extent. Judith Jarvis Thompson's and Don Marquis' essays on abortion. We're entering into the third week and general topic of giving, I would say. And this class does proceed in a sort of progressive way in the sense that everything that we read, we could have read it without any preparation, but we've read it with some preparation. That is, we're reading Singer after having read about utilitarianism. We're reading Arthur after having read about Kant. So certain light bulbs should go off. Right? That is, it should be clear that Peter Singer is a utilitarian, that he's a consequentialist, that for him an action is good or bad according to it, its effects on human beings and their welfare. Uh, Actually, Peter Singer is an animal rights guy, so he would include animals too, but that's not an issue in this particular essay. But that he's a utilitarian, and it should be clear that when Arthur offers his criticisms of Singer, his criticisms are to a certain degree Kantian, right? In the sense that certain other non consequentialist matters are relevant, he thinks, when we are making ethical decisions. That we cannot. His way of thinking about it is that utilitarianism is totally forward looking. What that means is utilitarian looks solely at the effects or consequences of an action and how it impacts human happiness. Um, Arthur's point is not that that's incorrect, but that that's incomplete, and that other considerations, what he calls backward looking ones, need to be taken into account. And I think to a certain degree that's a Kantian, generally speaking, a Kantian view. It is that Kant would say, if we had read more Kant, we would see that he would say that the consequences of an action are important, but not ethically important. Right? That is, Kant would say that the moral value of an act, whether it's good or bad, is totally determined by the principle that stands behind it and the intention of the human being, whether that human being's will actually conforms to the lawful principle. I don't think Arthur would go that far. What Arthur is basically saying is, I think that moral life requires that we take different approaches at different times and that we use our judgment as to when each one is appropriate, which is an interesting position because basically what it says is that Singer simplifies things too much. He attempts to simplify moral decisions to an extent that he ignores other important and equally valuable considerations besides consequential considerations, results, impacts on welfare. So, what are we doing this week? It is about giving. It is about whether you have duties or how you should live your life in terms of other people's needs and how you should try to balance your own welfare with the welfare of others and the extent to which you need to give things up in order to try to help other people. It's a very basic issue in not only moral philosophy, but in human life. It's an issue that we all struggle with. What are my duties to other people? If I find that I have enough or I have more than I actually need, how much of that more, if not all of that more than I need, do I need to give up to people and people around me, but also just human beings in general? We'll see that One of the most provocative things that we'll read this week is Peter Singer's hypothetical involving a child drowning in a shallow pond. And his point is that no one would refrain from saving that child because they didn't want to get their clothes muddy. I mean, and the general principle there is that if we can prevent something really bad like that happening without sacrificing anything of any importance, we should do it. It's called being a decent person. But the kicker to that is that, well, there are children who are experiencing that sort of peril all over the world all the time, and you can help them. It's just that they're not right there, like the child drowning in a shallow pond. But who's to say that your proximity to someone in need determines your responsibility towards them, right? That's the big idea, is that how near you are, whether that person is right in front of you, or whether you're just aware of their need. They may be on the other side of the world. It shouldn't matter in terms of your responsibilities towards it. That's his point. So it's a very challenging thing. And this week, I mean, it couldn't be anything more important, really, than sort of figuring out, or at least being thoughtful about, our duties or responsibilities to other people.